Purple Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
Damn right away we go, because it's Thorsday, ladies and gentlemen. It is the best day of the week. It's a reckless speculation. Thursday meets Thorsday. What more could you possibly want? Oh, how about 2-14-2 teams playing on Sunday for the top seed in the conference? First time since 1993 when Dallas played the Giants. That has taken place on the last day of the season. Not only is it going to be the last day of the season, it's going to be the last game of the regular season. It's phenomenal. It's Judd. It's Declan. It, of course, is the star of Thorsday, Thor Nystrom. And before we start talking Vikings and Detroit, I want to refer you to an event that we've got coming up here, Score North and my friends at Padregs. That's right, it is a Purple Daily Unplugged at Padregs, Tuesday, January 7th, 5 to 7 p.m. You must register to attend this playoff preview, but it is free. So we're basically just trying to get a head count. All attendees will get a free pint glass and one free Padregs beer. Because of that, you have to be 21 or older to attend. I've been telling you forever now about the delicious red. They've also got a great dry stout, English IPA, so many great beers from Padregs. The distribution, by the way, is growing by the week, and so there's more and more places, liquor stores, and your local bars that you can find Padregs. But join us, scorenorth.com. And Dex, what is the keyword? That's the one thing I didn't find.
Scorenorth.com/unplugged.
Okay.
Scorenorth.com/unplugged. You also go to our Twitter. I will also put it in our YouTube comments section as well, so you'll be able to find it. Scorenorth.com/unplugged. We just asked those to attend to register to get a little bit of a head count, but we're looking forward to hanging out with you, guys next Tuesday.
I got that.
Hey guys, you say Tuesday 5 to 7.
Yep.
Padres.
January
7th. You want Thor to be there?
We always want Thor to be
Yeah,
there.
no question about it. I was going to say, you are. We'd love to have you there.
I just dropped it into the schedule. You know, now there's not as many of the college football games. I might be able to make it out of the house. I'm a little bit like Judd Zulgad myself. Sometimes it's tough to get me out after hours, but for this special occasion and to be with my media father, Judd, I just might show.
Oh, we would love that. We would absolutely love that. And that will be hopefully a playoff preview during an off week, because the Vikings hopefully will be beating the Lions on Sunday, meaning
From your
that they
lips
get
to God's ears, Judd.
a first round bye. Okay, so here's my question for you.
Yeah.
Here's my question. Realistically talking about this game, the Lions, as we know, are decimated on defense. They've got a bunch of guys hurt. It's not good for them. It's good if you're the Vikings. But that being said, Thor, the Lions offense remains a formidable foe. They're first in the entire league, 33.3 points per game offensively. Now, they are tied for 8th in scoring defense, so their defense is not a complete mess. But anyway, when you look at this entire stew for this game, how do you see it? And especially, what do you think the Vikings offense needs to do? Because I think we have to just acknowledge the Lions offense is going to get theirs. I don't think you're going to shut them down. What's your thought?
Vikings offense needs to score points in bunches. The path to the Vikings victory here is a shootout. So that, you're the aggression all game long, and you're going to have to put up points on the board. And I think the real key to the game, you flip the field the other side. Ben Johnson, I don't know if I don't know another way to put it. It feels like Ben Johnson's the one dude who's sort of figured out Flores, right? And the stuff between the Flores, the zero blitzes and the super aggressive blitzes, and then the dropping 8, it's like Ben Johnson has figured out sort of how to get a beat on what's coming next, but also sort of the antidotes to that. And what we've seen in recent games is the quick peppering of the intermediate section of Sam Darnold was peppering the intermediate last game. That's what we have seen from the Lions, and in particular, those dig routes to Amon-Ra St. Brown in the middle, just the really quick stuff, and beat you over the middle to the spot. And they have been able to just carve out the efficiency that way. Flores needs to figure something out in this game. You can't allow Amon-Ra St. Brown every time they want it to catch the ball unimpeded 7 yards downfield with field in front of him. Something needs to be done. Make a schematic adjustment. You know what they have done the recent games. It needs to be fixed this time.
Yeah, I saw the over-under for this game, guys, is 56.5.
Let's go, baby.
56. I mean, it is
Shootout.
the next closest over-under. And now, granted, it's Week 18. We got a lot of bum teams playing against each other. Guys are resting starters. The other one is actually, I think, 48.5 is the other high for Steelers, Bengals, and Panthers, Falcons of all teams.
We're going to the OK Corral, boys.
Yeah. Ford
Get
Field.
ready for a shootout.
Yeah, it does, though, feel. And JJ, by the way, has incredible numbers against Detroit. And to Thor's point, I think even though JJ draws all the attention and we're seeing big games from Addison and at times Jalen Naylor last week, TJ Hawkinson always is going to be feasting the intermediate. It does feel like JJ shows up for the Lions every time. And this might be one of those instances, even though he's going to be having attention on him, that you spam the JJ button. Right, you just keep spamming it. There might be some incompletions. There might be some missed throws. Hell, there might even be an interception. But spam the JJ button.
Yeah, that's right. The teams that don't have good boundary cornerbacks, those defenses are in trouble against JJ, and the Lions are obviously that, and they're going to have to decide how comfortable are we rolling, X percentage of the coverage resources to JJ every single time. How much do we want to tamper his numbers down in deference to leaving the other guys running free in the field? The Packers, they do a lot of the rolling of the coverage to Jefferson. That opened a lot of the stuff up for Hawkinson and Naylor, of course. The touchdown to Naylor in the back of the end zone to the left there. All the defense cared about and the safeties cared about was where the F is Justin Jefferson. And now all of a sudden there's a dude running free in the back of the end zone. Sam's like, all right, we'll just toss it there.
Correct.
So that's what the cat and mouse game is here.
What intrigues me here is this too. So TJ Hawkinson got hurt around this time of the year last season at home against Detroit on what was a cheap hit. This is his first time playing in the 2024 season against his old team. I wonder how much of a role he gets because here's Detroit's conundrum, you guys. So look, if they're going to sell out to make sure that 18 doesn't get his, Addison, if Naylor catches the ball, it becomes deadly. Like that's the thing is I felt like he was put in a little bit of a timeout because after the good start, he definitely dropped some passes, and obviously O'Connell can't have that, right? But then on Sunday against the Packers, Thor, he emerged. Hawkinson, like that's the thing is, how much can you spread the ball around? Because if you get the performance that you did from the receiving core on Sunday against the Packers, it is a literal pick your poison.
That's it. Yeah. And this speaks to the, I think, or through it, we can speak to the advancements of Sam Darnold's game. The thing that we talked about, the weakness of going through the progressions, it's the reason why you've been in the NFL for 6 years prior to this and had never had success. The beginning of this, we've sort of seen the metamorphosis of a butterfly, right? It was like at the beginning of the season, It was all looking at Jefferson. He had his thing. It's like, if we just can get the ball to Jefferson, we'll have success. And then, once we get into October, then all of a sudden he's like, okay, well, they're going to roll the coverage there. We can throw it to Addison, and then Addison starts eating. And now we've seen the thing of, okay, now the defense took both of them away. That must mean that there is an open part of the field somewhere and someone running free. And in this last game in particular, I thought it was the best that we had seen of Sam going through progressions. There was times back there where it was more than 4 seconds after the snap, and you would see his head snapping around to the different progressions.
Yep.
He knew where all those dudes were on the field, and it was like bang, 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 bang. He had turned into like it was like the T1. Who's the dude in Terminator, the T1X or whatever, where he's like, look, bang, 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 bang. Nope. Like, you never saw that with Sam at USC. You never saw that with Sam with the Jets. You never saw that with Carolina. You'd see the panic with the ghost thing, and now we're going to make the YOLO decision, and we're going to try to run or like whatever it is. Now he knows that ticker is there. It's gotten a lot better. He knows where everybody is. The progressions, it's going really crisply. And you see in instances like the Packer game where they're like, we're going to take away your boundary receiver, Sam, and good luck beating us without it. And he's like, bet. We'll beat you with Naylor and Hawkinson this time. No problem.
So Thor, a little bit something going into this game, but also nothing that is probably going to happen on the field. And correct us if we're wrong here, but the Vikings can receive a comp pick if they activate Daniel Jones, I believe, for one regular season game. So is this a situation where they should figure out a way to create the roster spot? He's active. He's on the 53. He won't play. I know Vikings fans are trying to make. No, I'm not insinuating that Daniel Jones has to step in and play. Nick Mullins is the backup, but probably a wise move, right, for the Vikings to figure out to activate him and have that comp pick in their back pocket in the event Daniel Jones does leave.
Yes, it's you have to. And I'll go the other way with this. If they don't, it's weird, right? That means that they made under the table. They talked about something with Daniel Jones, and it was like, sign here and we won't activate
Joe
you.
Smith contract sitting in the drawer.
Exactly. Yeah, because that's how weird it would be. Yeah, it's the slightest of insurance policies activating him. I think we all assumed the reason Daniel Jones was signed was so that next year he's the QB2 grizzled veteran mentor for JJ, right? The young kid coming up, the young Ferrari coming out of the garage, and Daniel Jones gonna, hold the clipboard and tell him stuff or whatever. But like, if indeed that he ends up leaving, and there's certainly other ways that this could go, or that people think this could go. If one of those scenarios involves Daniel Jones leaving, why would you not have activated? What? Because you're trying to say friggin' Brett Ripien? Like, sorry, Brett Ripien, we'll give you a free ticket to the game. You can sit in a box or something. Sorry, we need that potential comp pick. We don't need you as the third quarterback for this game. So yeah, you must activate Daniel Jones. And if you don't see him activated for this Sunday game, there's something weird. And what that means was that there was an under the table kind of agreement when he signed that contract.
Right, which, by the way, might be smart. Like Jones, you can make a very good case that he should come back and get the full experience, the full KO car wash, right?
For sure.
And just a guess here, Thorsky. If I think they activate him, I don't know they cut Ripien. He loves quarterbacks. KO does so much that I wouldn't be surprised if they cut somebody else from the bottom and try and sneak them back through. But I want to ask you this too. So I think from the outside, the media perspective, the fan, this is a huge game, right? Like, you get the number one seed, you get the bye week, you get you get the potential 2 home games. But from being at practice on Wednesday, I don't have the feeling that the players are thinking that way. I think the players are thinking this: big game, yes, no question about it, but we are in the playoffs. So like, this is not if we lose, it's not the end of the world. But my feeling is that the way that KO is painting this and the way that the players are processing it, Thor, is different than us, because to their credit too, I don't think you can afford to see this as, well, if we lose, we're screwed. Like if you lose, you're in the playoffs, your road gets tougher, but I don't know that athletes think like that across the board. So I think there's going to be a very different feeling between a fan base that's going to sit down on Sunday night and be like, oh boy, here we go. Hope they can win. And players who want to win, but know that the end result, if they don't, is not this death knell. It's done.
Yeah, I usually defer to the stuff that they say inside the building with that stuff, because the psychological, sort of hold that Kevin O'Connell has on the team is so strong. And, it's been true so far. This is one where the fan base is right and the team is wrong. This game is of crucial times infinity importance. If you win this game, you all of a sudden go up to your odds of winning the Super Bowl. What do you think, boys? Right. You have the number 1 seed. What would we, 20%? What would you guys put that? I'll put it this: Vikings get the number 1 seed at that point on Monday. What would you say is their percentage odds to win the Super Bowl?
Yeah, probably 20, something north of 20.
So we'll say 20%.
Yeah.
If on Monday they have lost this game, and now it's the scenario of you're playing next weekend, you have to play the extra game. You have to win every single game on the road in order to win the Super Bowl. We'll start with Dex. What percentage the Vikings win the Super Bowl there?
They're probably in the single digits, but probably still like 5 to 7, maybe. It could be lower. I don't know.
I'd say around 5%. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to say the 20 on the one end. Perhaps I'm a bit more pessimistic, but I put it at like 1% or less if they have to go every one on the road. They've proven me wrong all year, so I would hope I would be wrong on that account as well. But I just see the one path, you have the clear one, and the other one is beyond hairy. You need to win this game. All the eggs need to go into winning this game. Your odds of winning the Super, it's totally night and day different whether you win this game or whether you don't. All in for this game.
So, Thor, I see you on Twitter for the last few days fighting the good fight, fighting the Darnold defenders, saying pay him, and then you're saying, nope, You don't want you want to lose all that cap space and what you're building towards. So, I mean, what happens here? Like, if Darnold does lead them to the Super Bowl, and we've kind of, Mackie and Judd and myself have kind of had this conversation too of, well, if he does it, like, you obviously kind of have to keep him, right? Where do you kind of stand here? Is this still just, this is J.J. McCarthy's car in 2025, regardless of what happens? I guess, how do you make of everyone now trying to say, actually, they should re-sign and bring back Sam Darnold?
First, I would like to begin with a general statement, because I'm now on my second year of arguing with these people about don't give away all your salary cap space to the non-top 6 quarterbacks. So this isn't my first rodeo, and I'd just like to make a general statement. I get the thing of like, I'll get replies on these things, and they'll be like, why can't you just enjoy the present, Thor? Why can't we wait until after the, why can't you just enjoy the present? Because I can walk and chew bubble gum at the same time. Okay, you can have more than one interest in this world, and certainly vis-a-vis the franchise that you support, you are able to watch the next play while thinking and being excited about next year. It doesn't make you more honorable because you can only focus on the next player, the next game. Okay, but if you've decided that it does make you more honorable, take your own advice and focus on what you want. As far as like the argument itself, yeah, I mean, it's the thing about, because that's where they always take this, right? It's like, well, what if he wins the Super Bowl? And what if he's top 3 in the MVP voting? Again, if that happens, he has priced himself even more out of your range, out of the plan that they have been setting up for the past year and a half. Oh, but what if he gets up to a $60 million annual value, Thor? Then would you sign him? No, then I especially wouldn't friggin' sign him. But what if also now his trade value is such that you could get a first-round pick for him while opening the position to your handpicked top 10 prospect? Would you sign him then? No, I wouldn't. Like, it's, you know what I mean? It's like this course has already been set. There's nothing to debate on this front. It's a predetermined outcome. It doesn't matter what happens here. If he plays awesome and they win the Super Bowl, then you, like I said, you especially cannot sign him. You're going to give $55 million to that guy. Just blow up the books, all the plans, every transaction that has led to this point. You're going to throw it all in the garbage bin. What? To pay for something that already happened? And a statistical manifestation of circumstance with the guy who has the best play caller in the NFL, the most QB-friendly coach in the NFL, and the best supporting cast. Let's throw away the future so that we can pay him for the statistical manifestation of his circumstance. It's not going to happen. And yeah, I don't know what else to say on that account.
What's your current, like, Thor, let's say top 5 MVP ballot right now?
You guys start. I haven't thought through an MVP value.
So I would say in here. How about this? I'll even pull up MVP odds right now, just according to fan.
Josh Allen to me is the favorite still.
So and he's the favorite by a wide margin.
Yeah.
Allen is minus 400 on the money line. So he's the favorite. He's the betting favorite. Lamar Jackson is 2 at plus 230. And then there's a huge drop off. Then Joe Burrow at plus 3,000.
Burrow.
I think it's just because, like, if you took away Joe Burrow, like, the Bengals would have the number 1 overall pick. I genuinely feel like their defense is so bad. It's so bad. So
where's Saquon?
Clearly, Allen and Jackson have separated themselves. What was that, Judd?
Where's Saquon?
Saquon
is 4th at plus 4.
Okay.
And then Darnold at plus 15,000. So right now, it's pretty much 2-man race. Allen likely has it in the bag, but it's between him and Lamar. But yes, I mean, Darnold does deserve, I guess, recognition and votes for what he's been able to do, too.
Yeah, I mean, I probably have Sam in the top 5, right? Like, I mean, the way
5 is very fair.
Yeah, the way that this voting goes, and like, yeah, I mean, I'd probably put, I mean, really, this should be Justin Jefferson, right? I mean, he's the one that, with the passing game. You could just swap them, but yeah, I mean, as we view this traditionally, and as this is voted for, yeah, I mean, in that context, Sam should be a top 5 one, because you don't do it to the receiver.
A wide receiver has never won the award. And just for some context, in 1982, Mark Mosley, the kicker for the Washington NFL team, won it.
Really?
So yes, a kicker has won. It's one of the most astonishing. The 80s, Thorsky, is riddled with football oddities.
Wait, that was in the 80s?
82, I think. Yes, I think it was. Yes.
Really?
Yeah, a
Why did
kicker
I
won
never
it.
know that? That was
A
2
kicker
years
won
before
it.
I was born. That's wow. Okay.
This is the same.
Oh,
This is the same decade in which the NFL had a rule that fans could be assessed a delay of game penalty for being too loud.
wait, what?
Go to YouTube. Go to YouTube. I'm not kidding. And find this. You can find quarterbacks who refuse to go under center or who went there and popped up and threw up their arms, and the official will then get on and say, this is a warning. If you do not quiet down, it is a delay of game against the fans and thus the home team. I'm not kidding.
Golf? It's so weird. Like that was the era when you watch the highlights and it's like Night Train Lane, Ronnie Lott, they're decapitating people over the middle. But then they're like, can you guys quiet down a little? They have like the golf clap, like the signs on the side. What are we doing here?
It was but a kicker. So if I'm correct, a wide receiver has never won that, which is amazing that at some point in time you just didn't have one back in the day win it. But yeah, no,
I think
weird league at the time.
Yeah, someday, and we'll get there. We will get there. This is going to take a while, though. We'll probably have the fully functioning AI and flying cars by this point. But at some point,
we'll never get flying cars.
They will be able to unspool individual performance from the team in football and assign it a value, play by play, which then can be added to give you a season-long value, which then can be turned into WAR, which then can be turned into a dollar amount. We don't have that yet. So now we got to unspool with our eyes. But Justin Jefferson is anyone watching is clearly more the thing with this offense than Sam Darnold, right? Like it just is what it is. The gravitational pull, all this sort. I mean, the individual plays, of course, guys uncoverable, catches everything, but then also the gravitational pull on all the other plays that open everything up for everybody else. It would be fascinating to know what his actual true value is, not his box score stats, but actually on the play. Like for instance, that Naylor touchdown. That should have been Justin Jefferson touchdown because that's what affected the defense to facilitate it.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Correct.
Hey, we'll have some more Vikings talk and also maybe Thor's recap of the college football playoff here before we wrap on Thorsday on Purple Daily. But I want to welcome a new sponsor here, our friends at StandardHeating.com, Standard Heating and Air. If you need some furnace repairs, you need some air conditioning. I know we're in the winter months here in Minnesota, but yeah, to keep the maintenance up with that. How about a garage heating? You know, there's nothing better than being in the garage in the man cave. How about you get that thing heated so you have a nice little insulated, warm place to watch some football? Plenty of great stuff from our friends at Standard Heating and Air. Tell them that Purple Daily sent you. You can go to standardheating.com to learn more. Experience the Standard Heating and Air Conditioning difference for yourself. An A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau. Go to standardheating.com.
So, Thor, it came out this morning that the Vikings have 6 Pro Bowl players. Now, as I said on the scoop with Doogie, the glorious thing is they don't play the game now. So it's great. You get your players, but they don't have to play in a stupid game. It's Darnold, DePaula, Grenard, Jefferson, Murphy, and Van Ginkel. But let me give you, so there was also 7 Vikings who were tabbed as alternates. And yes, even though they don't play the game, if a guy is hurt and technically couldn't play, he gets replaced. But I want to give you a talker. Speaking of like new ways to look at things, okay? Josh Metellus, a safety on the depth chart, and in name only, is a third alternate, which is ridiculous. Yeah. Why do we not have, just like in fantasy you do, a flex position? Like, why do we not have a Pro Bowl? And I know it's a small thing, but in these contracts, lots of times guys have bonuses tied to Pro Bowl. So why do we not have some type of flex position on offense and defense? Because Josh Metellus is never, I don't think, going to be a Pro Bowl safety because he doesn't really play it, but he is a Pro Bowl player.
Because they're the ideology, it's back in the 80s, back in your 80s era with the John Tesh and We're playing positionless basketball now. We got Brian Flores running this defense.
You're right.
So
You're right.
We are outside the scope of your boxes, football world. We are outside of it. Like, you are absolutely right, Judd. But yeah, Metellus and the way that they use him does not traditionally fit the way that these things are looked at. Yeah, he is a chess piece. He's all over the place. He's under your bed. He's in your closet. He's in your nightmares.
I mean, that's a scary thought, and I don't think that's true. But like for guys like that, with what we're seeing now from Flores, and I mean, Offensively too, right? Like we're seeing things. It's just that you list these guys like as a safety or a running back, and it's like, well, yeah, okay, technically that's fine, but like you're not acknowledging what you just said, which is exactly right, which is the evolution of the game itself.
Yeah. Yeah. And Metellus, the thing I was talking about with Jefferson of his true value would be even more than we think of, like just on the surface. Metellus, it's absolutely the same thing, right? Like on the defensive side, a little bit of a smaller scale. He's not, Jefferson's the best player in football, but like Metellus's value there is astronomical. It's this defense that has become one of the best in the league, and you wouldn't be able to do that unless you had a moving chess piece player like that.
Correct.
That excelled no matter where he was. Deep in center field there, you're not going to let anyone behind you. You're not going to make a mistake. You're not going to give up the explosive check. Put him in the box. We got to load the box. No problem. You want to put him the nickel defender? No problem. But you want to send him off the edge? No problem. He likes getting after the quarterback too. You can put him anywhere. But this defense needs that guy. That specific dude of move him around. Like there was a couple years ago, and obviously with my work, I do a lot of the draft stuff. There's buzzwords every process with the NFL draft, and it seems like it changes. For a couple years, they're defensive chess piece. I couldn't go a friggin' day without hearing the word defensive chess piece. And like the 1 year, it was Isaiah Simmons coming out of Clemson, and then he went to the Cardinals, and then I forget the other dude, but like it was defensive chess. Josh Metellus, he is the chess piece. Yes. We're playing chess, and he's the guy you can put anywhere and knock out one of their matchups. I mean, it just is what it is. So his value to the team is astronomical.
Okay, so here's a very, very inside geeky question to go back to your Jefferson point.
Yeah.
How would you go about if the league said, you know what, Thor, we were watching Purple Daily, and we heard your idea about contextualizing like the value, and we are interested in exploring that possibility. What would the components be there? So like if you were to get an accurate read way beyond the box score of what Justin Jefferson gives to sort of, I guess, present a baseball-like war, right?
Yeah.
Like a wins above replacement for football. What would be the absolutely necessary ingredients in that stew to give that a proper weight?
Well, when it's fully realized, like at the very end of the thing, you go beyond box score stats. You go beyond the individual matchup you were in. All of a sudden, you can get into the granular with the on field in the plays. You guys know that after the plays, what is it called? The NFL next gen or whatever.
Next gen.
Yeah.
And you get to watch the replays, and it's just like the dots on each side, and then they're moving, and you can see that sort of stuff. The way that the one player affects the other 21 on the field at any given time, and how that leads to success in a given play, that you would have to get. I mean, this is Neil deGrasse Tyson going into the quantum realm at this point, because again, it's
Thorsday.
How does one body in space affect the other 21, right? And like an example, we'll go back to the Jefferson Naylor play. Without Justin Jefferson on that play coming up on the left, right, and then parking over there, and then having the safety come down, which the safety only does that if it's like, oh God, that's the best football player walking planet Earth. If I don't come down and try to take that away, he scores the touchdown, I am going to be reprimanded by my coaching staff and then screamed at by the fan base for the next week. Well, all of a sudden, then Naylor is free in the back of the end zone. So it's like, what value on that specific play? How many of those 6 points was Justin Jefferson worth by pulling him up? Do you know what I mean? Like,
I do. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's the point that we'll have to get into with spacing. And if this guy moves this way, how does that affect the movement of the other guy? What does that open up on the other side? How does their team take advantage of that? This would be the really advanced version of it. But that's the point that I think we get to. And I think that that's the point that these analytics departments are moving towards, right? It's like basketball teams figured out that the guys like that didn't have the ball, but they're like running around and stuff. There's a value to that, right? Like they started tracking these guys and the amount that they would run around on the court in a game. And all of a sudden the defensive spacing would get screwed around with, because instead of a dude just sort of parking himself in the post, you have a guy running all these zigzags, running every which way, and it affects the defense, right? And the offense can open stuff up out of that. What is the value of that, right? The other sports have gotten better at it. There's just too many chess pieces on the board in football for us to have gotten there yet with the 22. again, what is this one thing on this one play?
And are you drawing guys?
Yeah, exactly. But we will get to a point with AI where we can do this, right? Where we will be able to pull out the granular value of a specific play and assign the value to the 22 dudes on the field. What was the value of the play, right? If it's, to use PFF parlance, like if it's a +2 for the offense and a -2 for the defense, as opposed to the way that PFF does it and is like, they'll give you the player either a +1, a +2, a 0, I think, or a -1, -2. Like that's their grading scale on an individual play. That falls so short, right? Of like what the actual evaluation or the contribution of an individual player to a play. And the solution here, and I hate to go Skynet, we're already sort of in science fiction world here, but this solution is what Skynet found. Remove the humans and give it to the computers. The computers will be able to unspool the spacing thing and the value of all that sort of stuff. And that's where we're
trying to fire the scouts. You're Billy Bean. You're trying to fire all the damn scouts.
I'm trying to fire. I think I'm trying to fire myself. I'm not gonna have a job after this, but I think that's where we're going.
So I got a thought too. When I think I have an answer to the question of when Darnold started to separate, like from doing a very good job to being outstanding. But before I get to that, I want to tell you about my friends at Livia Weight Control Centers who have helped sports dad lose weight not once but twice. A couple years back, dropped 40 pounds, had gained a few months back. So I went back and guess what? 15 pounds off just like that. Do you know why? Because they help you. They do weight loss differently. GLP-1 meds also available for qualifying patients. It's a you-centric approach, a personalized, comprehensive nutrition and lifestyle plan created just for you. Join today. Get 25% off their award-winning program. That's right, 25% off. 9 locations. It's great to go in and meet, but if you are outside the state and you're a listener, I don't know, let's say in Tennessee, New York, something like that, the whole program can be done virtually, so you don't have to live here. 855-GO-LIVEA, LIVEA, Livia.com to schedule your free consultation. 855-GO-LIVEA, Livia.com. And again, free consultation. The new you for the new year with a you-centric approach from our friends at Livia Weight Control Centers. Okay, so your point about the Green Bay game and of late, I mean, since Darnold had the back-to-back clunkers and wins against the Colts and Jaguars, I got to thinking, like, when did you start to see him? When did this start to go from being, oh, it's impressive to, oh my God, it's different? I want to give you guys this game. Week 12 at Chicago. Week 12 at Chicago is the game in which Justin Jefferson had a performance in which he caught 2 passes for 27 yards, and yet I don't think I've ever seen a receiver have a bigger impact on a game in which his box score said less. Addison that day, 8 catches, 162 yards and a score. Hawkinson, 7 catches, 114 yards. That's the one where I really think, and I don't know if this was an O'Connell-Darnold orchestration or what, but that's the one, Thor, where I really think that Darnold graduated to being able to use the bait and switch. And so it went from, okay, I am going to, as Deck says, bam the ball to 18 to, I'm not necessarily going to do that, but 18 is going to drive the defense bonkers. I think that was where this one started because the Packers game, you're 100% right. Dude is surveying the field. I mean, no problem. I think it was that Chicago game because, again, I came away saying I have never seen a guy with a worse box score have a better game than Jefferson did at Soldier Field.
Yeah. We talked about this metamorphosis, and at the beginning of the season, it's like spoon feed Sam into this thing in ways where we're pretty confident that path will lead to success, even if it's a bit myopic, right? Even if it's a bit Hendon Hooker, one side of the field, we're sort of locking in Hendon Hooker at Tennessee. Sorry for the callback joke, but like zeroing in on one dude or one side of the field. And then you start to see it. It was like a month. And then like the defense started to make the adjustments, and then Sam in kind and dash the play callers and during the week and whatnot, they make theirs. And it's like now Addison gets more targets. The wheels fell off the thing. Arguably, I mean, we started to see it the Colts game and then the Jaguars game. this is not a scandalous take. If JJ McCarthy hadn't began this season as the starter, he would have been the starter week 10 against the Jaguars. 1 billion% Sam is getting the hook then.
Oh, don't you say that. I said that and I got in trouble.
Come after me. Come after me, folks out there.
You're a man. You're 40.
I am a man. I am 40. You leave Zulgad alone. This is coming from Thor.
Zulgad likes that.
1 billion%. Because what, you get to that second level of the thing, and now the defenses are still adjusting, and the Jaguars were throwing the thing out of they're having a bunch of people back and like all this sort of stuff. Yes. And that's where Sam, he glitches again, right? It's like, it was like, along this progression line, we saw, it was quick when you think back on it in the whole, but there was, when like in the moment, right, it was like this, we started here, then it became this, then the defenses adjusted. And then there was the few week period where he was badly struggling. And because of the JJ injury, this is the positive of the JJ injury. I don't know another way to put it. It forced the Vikings to keep Sam in there through his struggles in those couple weeks. Yes. And Judd, to your point, like the Titans game was, I think we would have liked a better performance there. So it's like those sort of 3 games, right? Then you get into the Bears game and you start seeing the improvements with Sam in these different areas that we're talking about of, okay, what is the adjustment to the adjustment to the adjustment? It's like we started out playing like checkers and tic-tac-toe and such. And then like, all of a sudden then now we can play chess. And now all of a sudden, like, he's becoming like Dr. Strange with Kevin O'Connell, and like knowing, every little, iteration that happens on the field, then we can do this, we can do that. And that's where you saw coming out of that stretch. All of a sudden, we started to see that a bit in the Bears game, Cardinals, and the Falcons game. That one certainly helped the confidence get fully up there. That Terry Fontenot defense that withered on the vine because he decided to put all of his resources into the quarterback position. You light them up for 5 touchdowns. And then you have the trap game against Seattle. Honestly, I don't know if I said this on here or not. I sort of thought that was the game where they were going to get picked off. It's a tough place to go. The home field advantage. There was ever a place that you were going to see ghosts in the pocket, it was that. And you kept seeing the improvement. And then the Packer game is where to me, that was the first time I had seen it fully coalesce, where throughout the game, you saw him, the snappy progressions, right? And yeah, it's very cool where this is going with Sam. And you see that improvement line with him and being able, again, getting through that couple game stretch without there being any question whatsoever that he would stay in. You're talking about, you guys remember that meme they used to have on Twitter where it's like the rec speaker and it's like doesn't work, but could be fun to fix up or whatever. Like, you get that. That's what the Sam that we got into the building, and to see the little parts put together every week by O'Connell, it's been really cool. And if this team gets home field advantage in the playoffs, I think that this ride could be pretty fun.
So, Thor, yesterday I was watching him. I saw you were tweeting about him too. Scattaboo.
Yeah.
Just this absolute beast. I think you even tweeted out a Mike Allstat kind of comparison to him. Where does he fit in? Like, your college football junkies that you watch all the time. I mean, this guy's just rumbling, bumbling, going up the middle. He's catching passes. He's drawing pass interference. Like, he is an incredible college player. Does he fit? Does that style fit in the NFL?
Yeah, he's got a place in the NFL. If nothing else, he's a better, more skilled, well-rounded version of Carson Steele from the last class, right? The kid that Ball State, UCLA, and then the Chiefs got him and got a little value out of him. Scattaboo can do more stuff than that. I think he's going to test as a slightly better athlete, was a better runner in college, and then that receiving element that you talked about. Scattaboo's like, I made the All-Star joke, but like that's not exactly it, because All-Star was like a big moose, whereas like Scattaboo has the strangest dimensions. Like, someone would look at him on the surface and be like, how the hell does this guy lead the FBS in broken tackles? Because he's like 5'7". Like, yeah, I was pulling on my draft database because the teams lie in there when they post it on the bio. They always lie about the size, but we get the off season where they actually measured them. We get the exact stuff. So I want to pull it up for Scattaboo to see what his actual height was in his last. See if I got it. Yeah, we're closer. Well, it's closer to 5'9" and change, and the 220 pounds or so. Scattaboo can keep putting on weight, I think, but he is your classic and almost more so than most guys that you see along this conveyor belt bowling ball back. he is as compact as it gets, and it's all just muscle and fight in that kid, right? 5'9" and change, and the 220 pounds and change, and then he's a street brawler. He will fight you for everything. And the thing that I like about that guy, it's not just the breaking tackles thing, and it's not just the skilled thing. There's cool sort of granular things with his game. And one of them is like, how does this dude break so many tackles when he's not like a 240 plus pounder or whatever? And the reason is because he not only has really good contact balance, and he has good core strength and strength in his trunk, obviously with the leg drive and everything like that. He has a really good understanding of angles, and he will switch the angle up. We think of agility, like, in the draft process, when it's like, oh, he's got joystick agility. Like, everybody knows what that is. You can see it in your mind, right? It's like he'll break somebody's ankles, right? And then he's right, like but Scadaboo, it's a bit different. He has agility, but it's not like that. It's this understanding angles thing where he can change the angle of a defender coming up to the contact point right before it. That moment where the defender is launching himself, like right at the precipice of that, he can change the angle just so that instead of getting a flush tackle attempt, that dude has an off angle attempt now. And you don't, and they won't in the NFL either. You don't tackle Cam Scadaboo, one guy at an off angle. That the balance, the strength takes over at that point. And again, his contact balance, it's just incredible. So, and then the receiving elements, the other thing with him, very, very skilled receiver. And then he's going to street fight you in space. So that's the game of him.
Oh, that's so football.
It's very interesting. At my bowl party yesterday, Judd, I knew you weren't coming because I can't get you out of the house. One year I will get you over. But we had this discussion, and the general consensus of the room and the ensemble media throng there is round 5 right now. Phil got involved with this too, texting me about Cam Scadaboo's because Phil's out of town right now, but he was texting me about Cam Scadaboo too. But like the round 5 maybe right now, if the testing goes well for him, like if he tests awesome, like way better than I think, that's where day 2 could be a possibility. But I don't think he's going to test that like that good. Round 4 could be a possibility if you're like 65th percentile athlete, but he's going to have to get to that point. He can't test super poorly. That's what it, he's going to get drafted, right? But like if he tests as like a 50th percentile athlete, 48th percentile athlete, it's going to be a round 7 flyer as opposed to like a guy that a team thinks couldn't step in and play potentially right away, maybe as a part of a platoon or whatever.
I was at the Vikings too. Just to be clear, I was at the Vikings. It's the Wednesday of a huge game. I was out of the house, but I was working, Thor, and that's important to point out. Thor, great stuff. Thorsdays are fantastic. Absolutely. Find him on the X Machine at Thor KU. That's right, Thor KU, and also does outstanding work for Matthew Berry's Fantasy Life as well. Sir, we will, I'm sure we'll be texting soon, and we will talk to you next Thursday. And I do believe Phil is going to be back. So after a 2-week hiatus from Thorsday, I don't know how he's doing. It should be Judd, Phil, and Declan for Thorsday next week.
I can't wait. By that point, we'll know, are the Vikings the 1 seed in the NFC or
either way, man.
And then
playoff game or not? Yeah.
And then we're also going to have the Final Four for the college football playoff. The field will be set, so there's going to be plenty to talk about next Thursday.
I hope we get good games. That's all I can say. I hope we get good games because so far I've been very disappointed. All right,
that Texas-Arizona State game.
Yeah, that was good.
Oh boy, was that wild! That was a good time.
Yeah. All right, sir. Talk to you next week.
We'll see you next week.
Thanks, Thorsky. Hit the subscribe button. Daily Vikings Entertainment Feedback Friday with Mackie tomorrow right here on Purple Daily.